Former President Donald Trump has endorsed all three Republican frontrunners for Missouri governor. The three endorsed candidates are Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft, State Senator Bill Eigel, and Lieutenant Governor Mike Kehoe. All three quickly accepted the endorsement. When asked about sharing the endorsement today, all three candidates said they're not focused on the competitors. Republican voters say that Trump is a person they turn to during election season.
I think that many Republicans respect, and many people that are not Republicans respect Donald Trump. And so I think certainly his endorsement is a good thing, and I think it is something important that the voters will look at.
Missouri voters will decide their Republican and Democratic gubernatorial candidates on August 6th. Early voting is open right now.